is destructive.
This food is your culture.
Then the culture is destructive.
I did not want to be right about this. Let's be very clear. As much as I enjoy having my opinion validated by, time, I wanted this to be a good film. A little TLDR for you right quick. When the original came out in 1988, I was 7 years old. It's literally one of my first memories in life because my entire family got together. My mom, my dad, my sisters, everybody got together, went to the theaters, saw this, went, had McDonald's. It was a great day. All right. It was one of my first really great days on earth that I remember to this very moment. And when it comes to this sequel, the atrocious writing is unbearable. I didn't finish, guys. I tried for a solid day to sit through this film. I got an hour in and I just said, I don't care. I genuinely don't care, and cut it off. And I'm done. All right. And that wasn't the first time I cut it off. I cut it off every time something that made me cringe would happen on screen. And this was like from minute 5 on. I would watch it in like 5-10 minute intervals because every few moments, something that was just utterly devastating was happening on screen. So before I go into what really irked my nerves about it, I want to give it some praise because there are a few things I really liked about it. Namely, seeing actors from back in the day, your John Amoses and your Louis Andersons. Seriously, Louis Anderson? Oh, man, it was good to see him, wasn't it? It was kind of good. I kind of want to just jump through the screen and say, Louis, what up? Give him a hug, because Louis used to be a real big deal back in the day. But the wife, Lisa, she aged very, very gracefully, but I was always questioning, where's her sister? Did her sister show up later in the movie? I don't know, because I'm not sitting through the rest of this crap. But where's a fine ass chocolatey sister? Where's Eric LaSalle? There was a few questions. There was a few people who I was looking forward to seeing and not seeing, but it is what it is. That's a good point. That's a positive that I can say about the film, as well as Wesley Snipes. This guy, he is having a blast in his role. You can tell throughout the entire film that he's really enjoying himself, and it shines through in his performance. So I definitely feel like that's a notable part of this film. Man. And well, I think that's probably about it. Is there anything else? Because the writing is just it is dumpster juice doodle butter. I mean, this stuff is all the liquid excrements that you could ever imagine in this script. Because as someone who watches film, like all of us do, right? I genuinely believe that the script and the writing are the most important parts. You can have the world's greatest, sound, special effects, cinematography, acting. But if the script is shit, then there's really no recovering from that. And this script was just ass cheeks. Now, the way I knew this, and this was really my first cutoff point. If you watch the film, you know that Wesley Snipes is the leader of a neighboring country or tribe or whatever. And the name of this country or tribe or whatever is Next Doria. Bro, what? You couldn't care less about this script to sit there and just type next door. You couldn't say Wazakandambia or something like that. Like, just throw together some letters in gibberish and make a legitimate sounding African nation. No, you had to make it Next Doria, which is it was the first indication as to how trash this film was going to be. And it only got worse. And before I get into the biggest culprits, something that kind of just disturbed me in this film comes with James Earl Jones passing. James Earl Jones is like 92 years old. I found it a little weird that he died on screen, and he died in the manner in which he did. It was very, it was I don't know, it just felt a little distasteful because, you know, I mean, we're not too far from James Earl Jones actually going out. So, I don't know. I mean, I love you, James Earl. You are amazing. You've really taken place. You really had a huge part in so many different great franchises that, like, I don't know. It's just like when he does pass, it's gonna be a national, you know, saying tragedy, and to have it happen on screen at this juncture and in that form, it just seemed a little off. But either ways, man, it was really great seeing James Earl Jones. So, you know what? Should I do this first, or should I? No. Let's ask this question. Where was his wife? Where was Prince Akeem's mom? Because she was such a huge part of the first one. I don't even think she was mentioned. Was she mentioned in the second half of the film? Because she definitely wasn't mentioned in the first half of the film. And this film, which really takes its agenda and its propaganda and just beats you over the face with it, like, oh, feminism, that's right, you don't need no man, girl, like that all that bullshit that we've heard and seen a million times before. You know, for them to seemingly, because I'm not sure, I didn't finish the movie, but for them to seemingly overlook his wife, she was amazing in that first film. And speaking of that first film, that's where we're going to go into the real issue that I have and why I refuse to continue to watch the film. These two, Prince Akeem and Simi. The original Coming to America it lived on their chemistry, on their friendship, and to see how this played out, particularly the retconning of Leslie Jones into the film and the like, it turned these two very likable and, you know, like good friends and likable individuals into just the worst people. Like it's like a Seinfeld version of Coming to America, which leads us directly to Akeem himself, because one of the things that really strikes me in this film is how cowardly he is, how weak he is in this film. In the initial movie, he wasn't that. He was a kind man, right? He was a gentleman. He was a kind dude, but he also stood up to a yelling and cursing Samuel L. Jackson with a machine gun, only having a stick to his hands. You know, so real talk, to have Prince Akeem finally get his opportunity to become king, something that he's trained his entire damn near 60 years on this earth for, you know, saying just because, oh, he's scared of being assassinated, is some of the weakest shit and worst character assassination I think I've ever seen in a film. Like, I think this is way worse than Luke Skywalker going for Luke Sky from Luke. Oh my goodness, I think it's way worse than Luke Skywalker going and hiding on a cliff. This is Prince Akeem, the protagonist of the first film. Who was someone I would consider a Luke Skywalker, because I was 7 years old when I watched this movie, and he was courageous, he was kind, he was well read, he was well spoken, he looked forward to having the opportunity to be king. And for him now at this stage in the game, look to to abdicate his throne and, you know, oh yeah, we got to worry about that next generation when it's really should be your time to shine. It's character assassination. It really is. And speaking of character assassination, I mean, when it comes to Simi himself, Simi wasn't he was lackadaisical, but not a complete buffoon. And his relationship was far more friendly and far more, you know what I'm saying, like was perceived as far more, just he's an employee particularly when it comes to James Earl Jones. Like, there's a level of cruelty in this film between James Earl Jones and Simi, and a level of just, they really, really shat all over the character of Simi in this film as well, because let's get to that retcon. Okay, so the retcon of him being so desperate that same night where they met so many battered chicks, right? And they show it in the film. Their reliance on the first film is very pronounced, and they show it. They show, my name's Peaches, and I'm the best. All the DJs want to feel my breasts. But that whole scene, I did a breakdown of that scene on this channel a very long time ago. But of all the women in that scene, for you to be like, oh well, I'm gonna hook him up with Leslie Jones, and they did this trope that I cannot stand in films, where they make marijuana seem as if, okay, yeah, you can get some weed blown in your face and you'll get so high that you won't realize that you are basically being forcibly taken, because that's the, it's like, how the R word is here on YouTube, but like, you're being forcibly taken and you completely forget that entire encounter for 30 years. Really? Pot has that kind of power? Seriously? It's such a trope, and it's so bad. But yeah, because Simi really wanted to get his meat wet, which he eventually did when he ended up hooking up with Lisa's sister, who, once again, isn't mentioned. I don't believe is mentioned in the film. I could be wrong. I didn't watch the entire thing. But the character assassination of Prince Akeem and Simi, it was just too much. It was just too much. So, let's get to another good thing in this film, boys. Oh, bruh. She was almost worth watching the rest of the film for, but let's be real, she wasn't going to be in a lot of the film. She's some groomer that, what's the name? That the son gets when, like, he's eventually, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if he eventually hooks up with her, because she's supposed to be his North Star in the waves of the moon, or what have you. But let's not pretend like this woman is not 1,000,000% fine, yo. She is absolutely gorgeous. My God. Soak it in, boys. Soak it in. She is a baddie. She is a baddie, for real. Man, I've really gone in on this film. So, the whole thing about, it's so unfair that the girl can't be king and all this other, like, shut up. Like, shut up. I don't, like, honestly, Prince Akeem should not be looking to abdicate the throne anytime soon, off top. So this shouldn't even have been something that his daughters were, like, aware of. If Zamunda is the place that they made it out, right, then nobody would be bitching about, oh, well, yeah, it has to go to a boy. If the throne has to go to a boy, or she has to get married and become someone's queen in order for there to be a male a male on the throne, then that's just the way. That's just the tradition. And I get what they were trying to do with this, right? They're trying to say that they're trying to have the exact same point that they made in the first film, because he wanted to go against tradition and find himself a woman that was a more of a pain in the ass than the chick. Look, and that's a damn shame what they did to the barking woman that he initially rejected, where she keeps barking like a dog all these years later. Like, come on, for real. Y'all sitting here talking about woman empowerment, but you still got this character there barking like a dog. It's that circular logic that I talk about in my content a lot, because these people, they don't realize exactly what they're doing when they're doing it. They're just shoving the propaganda down the throat, as opposed to being far more nuanced about it, as it was in the original, right? Which didn't have the greatest of ideas either, because if you know anything about American women in 2021, man, you was better off with her. You was better off with the barking dog chick. But yeah, so his daughter's real butthurt about him having a son from America, and who will just automatically get the throne, like, if he passes all these tests. I didn't bother to see if he passed any of these tests, because it's so trite. It's so ridiculous. It's so much dumpster juice doodle butter that I have no interest in it. But yeah, they've telegraphed when it comes to their propaganda, their feminism and, oh my goodness, men and women are the same thing and should be treated like complete equals and shit. When it comes to their propaganda, they really telegraphed it super hard in this. And just like, yeah, what they did to her was absolutely tragic. Like, her cameo was absolutely tragic. She's still sitting there barking like a dog all these years later in the same dress on some Miss Havisham shit. Like, come on, yo. Hard pass. Hard pass. Oh, my goodness. So this is just a group photo. Let's see. It was nice seeing Lynette. Lunel. Yeah, she's cool. I like her. She's funny. But real talk, she's not, like, movie ready or anything else like that. I already spoke of how like it also kind of like really made, like, yo, she did age rather gracefully. No, not you, Leslie Jones, but Lisa aged really, really well. Like, I'd still clap them cheeks, bro. Like, all day. Lisa aged very, very well. But I got a question, right? Well, check this out right quick, because you mean to tell me these two made this? Eh? Those two very, very darker complexioned individuals made such a khaki colored son. And speaking of the khaki colored son and the terrible writing, he has this scene where he's in a job interview and the white guy's telling him about having a dad, right? And the white guy's just being a condescending prick, and it's written so terribly that how much, oh yes, this is racism in 2021. Miss me, hard pass on this shit. And another thing that really got under my skin with the first half of this movie, remember, didn't watch the entire thing, but something that really got under my skin in the first half of this movie was him when he gets his when the royal bathers come to see him and the like. And they're like, yeah, we're here to bathe you. The first thing he does at 30 years old is run to his mom. Hey, mom, these women want to give me a bath. You're an embarrassment. You are an embarrassment. And speaking of embarrassments, and speaking of, hold on, we got, yeah, and speaking of embarrassments and completely illogical bullshit. So, Teyana Taylor comes swinging in, singing this song. Teyana Taylor is supposed to be the daughter of Wesley Snipes over here, who, once again, having a blast in the role, right? So she comes in. Honestly, I don't really get the appeal of Teyana Taylor. I mean, I get where others can be like, oh yeah, she's also dope, she's so fine and shit, but nah, not I, said this guy, because it's just way too... We've had this conversation on the channel before, but let's move on. So this daughter of African warlord comes swinging in, singing this song. And Ola from the first one, who, you know, she's your queen to be, he knows this song. Meaning, you've been hanging out with enemy camp, because Wesley Snipes has been threatening to murder Eddie Murphy the entire film. So you've been hanging out with the enemy camp, with the enemy tribe, well enough to have this song coordinated with this broad. And crazy enough, Leslie Jones over here starts singing and dancing like, oh, this is my song, despite the fact that you're from America, so you shouldn't know any, like how do you know some song that that's an original Teyana Taylor as Wesley Snipes warlord daughter knows? And then this guy starts rapping. He starts rapping in the middle of her song. Yeah, shorty, we gonna see it. Like, oh, you know, I turned it off. I'm like, yo, this is just too much cringe. It's just too much cringe. Oh my God, the first movie was not this. The first movie was not this at all. And it sucks. Because the first movie, here's the thing, comedy writers, that I really hope you guys begin to understand, is that the more serious the world that you've built around your characters is, the harder the jokes hit when you land them. The thing about the first movie is that it was set in a rather realistic world, right? Where, what's the name? Where, you know, New York felt real. Even Zamunda, to an extent, even though it's a fictional place, it felt real. But here, Nextdoria, you know, like, oh, we got all these, we have a fully coordinated dance routine featuring one of your most loyal servants, Ola, despite the fact that he continuously talks about how he's going to assassinate. You know what? I can't. This is non-canon. I don't care. This movie is not. The first Coming to America was a fantastic standalone movie, much as many, just like a lot of Eddie Murphy's original movies were. Harlem Nights, Boomerang, with the exception of Beverly Hills Cop. That was the one that they really wanted to turn into a franchise, but but it wasn't. I guess they couldn't get like the rights to Axel Fox. Who knows? I don't. It's all Hollywood bullshit. All I'm saying is that this movie was fantastic and stood alone. It stood as a timeless. It was timeless. It really was. And here you are, just jamming all of this 2020, 2021, my feminism, my Black Lives Matter bullshit into this film, and it's why most people consider it to be trash. There are a segment of people, oh, I loved it. They are low level. They do not think critically. These are not critical thinkers who particularly cared about or gave a shit about the first film. I don't believe the people that wrote this film gave a shit about the first film, because if they did, it wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have been this. You know what I was thinking? Because I was, okay, so what if, right, by the time they got back, right, from like at the end of the first movie, they get married and everything else like that. Lisa, still fine, has a baby and all, right? And it's pretty quick though. And come to find out, it was Eric LaSalle's baby. And now, you got this situation between like them two, just dealing with the fallout from that. James Earl Jones had already passed, and Akeem had been a king for a while, and now he's trying to figure it out. And then maybe he took one of the peaches or both of the peaches back to the crib that night, and they clapped cheeks. But I mean, seriously, he passed up on all those other fine bras for Leslie Jones. Oh my goodness. I will give it one that there was one joke when she was wafting the peppermint candle. I kind of laughed at that. That was pretty funny. But besides that, this film is such a hard fail that I can't finish it, and it sucks. But I got to move on with my life. I gave it a day. I really tried, and when Trevor Noah showed up, I was like, ugh. But then they kept dipping back to the second film and retcon and shit from the first film, and it's I can't. So we're going to end this. Wow. I have 22 minutes. Jesus, I'm sorry, but I had to just let loose because this deserved to be talked about. But let's end it here. All right. So, boys, with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you like it, toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute and like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications. Get something from Teespring. Check me out on Patreon as well. Links in the description. Actually go into the description and do what I do to that booty and do damage and speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? This film was just, it was a chore to sit through. It was a chore. And to my brothers who really were hurt by the characterization of Luke in, the Disney sequel trilogy, I get it. I get it now. I'm feeling your pain. And it hurts. Like, it hurts so bad. They took a fucking hero, and like Batman said, long enough they turn into villains. And they took an awesome character and made him into a raging pussy. But you may disagree. That's what my comment section's for. Until the next one.
Men, we don't know what we did.